So my stomach's kind of growling. I mean, I just ate not too long ago, so I don't know why it's doing that. But anyway, welcome to the Theorist. Ignore my growling stomach if it keeps up with this during the review. And anyway, I'm your host, JC Botero67. And today's focus is going to Revelations chapter 8. And we will kick it off with a Ciel. We will kick it off with a quote from Ciel. Basically, the chapter picks up from the death of the student. It was another girl. Her name was Jezebel. And, she was a pretty prominent student, you could say. She had a foundation that kind of helped raise awareness of AIDS. And, she had undertaken such projects to kind of bring about that awareness. So, she was a nice girl, really helped her community and gave back, and it was just unfortunate that she had to be the next victim. I mean, of course, we didn't know her personally, but, just hearing, someone who was really, helping other people had to undergo this horrible fate. And as we had seen previously with Ciel, that he felt bad for Elise, he went to the church and prayed for her and her family. This time, with Jezebel, it's a little bit different. And here's a quote from chapter 8. He felt guilty, knowing better that he should display sympathy for the fallen life and her suffering family. However, no matter what he did, his mind would betray him every chance it got. So, we're kind of seeing that Sebastian is having an influence on him. And, that's just gonna keep growing on Ciel until he eventually distances himself from his faith and goes down the dark path that Sebastian and the others, Claude and Hannah and their master, want Ciel to take. And so I mentioned Sebastian because Ciel's thoughts went to Sebastian. He didn't even bother thinking about Jezebel, didn't even bother feeling bad about her, really. His thoughts were on Sebastian because it had been about a week since he last saw him, and, he hadn't heard back from Sebastian. No phone calls, no texts, no anything. And so it's been on Ciel's mind, and he's upset with Sebastian. He wants to kind of get in touch with him even, but Aloise is like, no, let him get in touch with you. So anyway, Ciel goes about his regular routine of fencing. And we meet Dagger. He is a transfer student, and he's really good in the craft of fencing. So Ciel wants to face him off. And, Dagger at first is like, oh, I don't just fence with anybody. Give me a reason why I should fence with you. And, Ciel notices that Dagger has his eyes laid on Lizzie. So Ciel's like, oh yeah, I know her, I could totally set you up. And so Dagger is down to do this match. So they duel, I guess you could say, and Ciel loses 15-14. And of course this has Ciel super upset. He's cooling off, and getting ready to go home, and all of a sudden Sebastian shows up in the boys' locker room. And he's telling Ciel I saw you out there, you were impressive, I couldn't take my eyes off of you. And then Sebastian says something that he shouldn't have said, which was, next time though, try not to lose. This upsets Ciel, so he basically right hooks Sebastian in the jaw and goes off on him, and is like, you haven't contacted me for about a week, if you don't want me, if you didn't like what you saw that night, then just tell me straight up, you don't have to be a coward and hide. So Sebastian sees that Ciel feels insecure, and oddly enough, Sebastian feels bad for him. And, he's just going through these new emotions with this young man. And so he pretty much sweet talks him, I guess, and kisses him, and he's like, oh, how could I not want you? And, things start to get a little bit in that direction of smugness. And so Ciel's like, no, not here, someone's gonna see us. And he proposes to take Sebastian to his house. And they agree to it. And that's where we meet Hannah. She is currently outside the Phantom Hive mansion, you could call it. And she's in that forest area. And she's kind of seeing as they roll in, but prior to that, she was talking with Claude. And Claude was warning her that she needs to be careful with what she does because Sebastian could punish her. And so Hannah's just all like, psh, whatever. I'm the Dark One's niece, remember? Therefore, as far as the rules of blood lineage are concerned, I'm superior to Sebastian. So she's not afraid of him. And she even made a proposition to Claude to work under her and not Sebastian anymore, but Claude refused that because Hannah's kind of into Claude, I guess. Kind of lusting for him, not so much like the love aspect of it, but Claude isn't into women, as Hannah pointed out for us. But anyway, after seeing that scene and after she talks with the triplets about going after Ciel and killing him, because it appears that Sebastian's probably not going to do it or keep delaying it, I am more than certain now that she is going to be the one who tries to kill Ciel. Capture him and torture him or, kill him on the spot, basically. So it came to my mind that maybe there will be a house fire. As we've seen in the original anime manga, the Phantom Hive mansion was burst into flames. That's where Ciel's parents died. And Ciel was supposedly dead too, but it turned out that he was taken away by the people who tortured him and abused him as a child. So I don't know why my mind went to that, but that could be a way that Hannah tries to kill him and she fails. And then, she'll obviously try again to do something to him. I don't know, I randomly thought, okay, maybe Sebastian goes to visit Ciel or something at his house and he sees that it's in blazes and he basically jumps in and saves Ciel from the flames. I was even thinking, too, that Madame Red could be in the house as well at that time that it's being burned, so maybe she ends up dying, and that would also kind of follow the anime manga plotline. Not the same way she died, but the fact that she ends up dying. But anyway, I think the way the next chapter is going to start is going to be a lemon. Because as I had mentioned in a previous review, a little birdie had told me that Chapter 9 or Chapter 11 had a smut scene in it. So, I'm hoping that that's what next chapter is. And I have to just say, bring it on, because I'm so ready for this, and I know a lot of our readers are too. Even though I was upset with Sebastian, and I'm still upset, They're getting it on doesn't change my view on Sebastian. But, like I've mentioned before, and like we're probably going to see, Sebastian is going to have a change of heart. And he'll end up being a good guy and saving the day. So, I look forward to then. And I am also looking forward to the next chapter. So, this concludes the Chapter 8 review, and I'll see you again in Chapter 9.